Et une bière pour la 2. Tu lis quoi, là?
L'art invisible.
Hein? Quoi?
C'est une BD invisible.
Oh putain, c'est dingue, ça.
Je suis toujours étonné de voir à quel point il est con. L'art invisible est une BD qui théorise l'art de la BD, justement, avec une précision et une pertinence remarquables. Aujourd'hui encore, c'est un ouvrage qui fait référence. C'est Scott McCloud qui a pondu ça. Scott McCloud, vous vous souvenez, Balak nous en avait parlé il y a quelques semaines. Vous vous souvenez de Balak?
Le joueur de
Oui.
foot?
Non! Dans sa jeunesse, Scott McCloud avait de nombreuses passions dévorantes. Les échecs, la microbiologie, l'astronomie et bien sûr, la bande dessinée. À 15 ans, il décide de devenir auteur de bande dessinée et rien ni personne ne pourra le faire changer d'avis. Dans les années 90, lorsqu'il s'attelle à la rédaction de l'œuvre qui le rendra célèbre, eh bien le marché de la bande dessinée n'est pas du tout le même que celui que nous connaissons aujourd'hui.
One of the important differences between the time when I began understanding comics in the early 90s and now is that comics was a little more separated. It was different. It wasn't as diverse. There wasn't a web comics scene yet. We hadn't yet seen America and Europe be flooded by Japanese comics. I had to go searching when I was young to find Japanese comics, to find European comics. Luckily, European comics began to come to America through heavy metal, which was translated work from Metal Hurlant, and other translated European works would come to the better comic stores. And I became obsessed with European comics in high school, in college, and towards the end of college I began to see Japanese comics. And that became a new obsession that I pursued as soon as I got a new job working just out of college, working at DC Comics in New York City, because 3 blocks away was a Japanese bookstore. And so I studied both kinds of comics, and I found that there were techniques in both that I really valued. In European comics, the tradition of world building that in many ways began with Hergé, but ran through many other artists. And in Japan, the technique of making the reader feel like they were part of the story, surrounded by the story, experiencing the things that the protagonist experiences. Both of these were qualities I wanted to bring to my own comics.
C'est cette curiosité, cette soif de découverte qui l'a amené quasiment inconsciemment à se lancer dans ce projet fou qui allait devenir l'œuvre de sa vie.
Understanding comics came together not because of any one moment of inspiration, but because I had a pile of notes that kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. All of these papers with diagrams and theories and drawings that after a while were so heavy that I couldn't put them in any one place. I knew that I had to make a book. I had tried explaining my theories about comics to friends, to co-workers at DC, but it was always hard to put it into words. But when I put it in pictures, they understood. And so I thought, why not put this all in a book? There were a few other people who had tried explaining things in comics form. And a cartoonist named Larry Gonick, who had a series called Cartoon History of the Universe. The great Art Spiegelman had done a short piece about humor theory called Cracking Jokes that was very influential on me. And so I knew it could be done. I knew you could explain things through comics. And to me, what better thing to explain through comics than comics itself?
L'album sort en 1992, mais il faudra attendre 1999 pour qu'il soit édité en France. L'année suivante, en 2000 donc, il obtient même l'Alphard du meilleur album étranger à Angoulême.
When Understanding Comics came out, I thought it would be of interest to readers of comics and probably other artists making comics. I never imagined that it would stretch beyond that it would influence people in game design, people who are designing interfaces for computer systems, web designers, filmmakers, all these different people in other fields, because they were interested in how visual communication worked, and that was what I was writing about. Not just about comics, but about visual communication generally.
Ce livre a clairement changé la vie de Scott McCloud. lui conférant même une certaine autorité dans le domaine. Il est d'ailleurs très demandé en tant que conférencier depuis. Mais il n'a pas arrêté d'étudier pour autant, et en 2000, il a sorti Réinventer la bande dessinée. Scott McCloud est très influent dans ce milieu, et il a contribué à la reconnaissance de ce média en tant que art.
Et voilà.
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Eh bah c'est une bière invisible.
Oh.